All right, guys. I actually disconnected myself. But we're going to continue on with this. If you're interested in getting a little bit of information, and I just wanted to expose this guy, a couple of YouTube people, another one, a brother Sanchez, same thing. I had information to share. He opposed it, tried to clown me, knocking everything that I said down, knowing that I had factual, scientific, and medical information to back me up. He wouldn't allow me to speak. He called me all kind of names, bees and hoes, and we won't even get into how disgusting it got. I actually had to even retaliate and go and fed into the ignorance myself because I was so upset. But this happens a lot of times, guys. The only reason I thought to do this is a friend of mine said that he ran across some information with land Scurve as well and some negativity. And when he brought it up, it just brought me back to this video that I had forgotten about or wasn't thinking about at the time. So right now, what I'm doing is kind of going through the video and just trying to recall some of the information that I went through and letting everybody know that, hey, this happens all the time. And what we can do as a person, um, is just review things and know what's going on. Know that people do like to take information and, so on and so forth. So basically, when it comes to these YouTubers, I just found it important to expose a lot of the nonsense and a lot of the crap that goes on. So this is an exposure with Lance. There's also the incident, as I spoke of, on the brother Sanchez. There was also an incident with young Pharaoh YP. If you're familiar with him, he's another metaphysics, and because he's into metaphysics, I've you know always been familiar with him over the years. There's another gentleman, brother Polite, I used to follow. So I found out he was a scammer, another YouTube issue. Same thing with Pharaoh. About a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, um, we talked about him being a co-host on the Melanated Monday show. And after he assumed that he would not be able to retrieve money or income from the show, cash apps, super chats, things of that nature, because I was not at the time on the YouTube platform, he decided not to go with it. First, he definitely was going to co-host on my show. He was excited about the opportunity of being on air, being heard, all over the country on a different platform versus his YouTube platform. But once he saw that it was not a broadcast like the radio in your car, and that it was internet radio versus the regular radio station, I don't know what difference he thought that would make. He decided he didn't want to do it. I guess it wasn't large enough or great enough or grand enough for him, even though the platform reaches more than the viewers or followers that he has. It's really funny. So the only thing that would make him be negative towards something he was very excited about was to find out that he would not be able to retrieve income. The only income that you retrieve is from sponsorship. So depending on what his sponsorships would have been, we would have definitely gotten some income because whatever I dedicate to, the incomes comes from the sponsors. I don't really worry about it because I have my income sources from other places. But had he been interested, he could have very well taken advantage of that. If I had a partner and they were more interested in income, I would have definitely made sure they were able to justifiably get what efforts they wanted for their time. But because the platform wasn't what he wanted, he actually decided to not go with being my co-host. So that's just some of the information that I'm coming across when it comes to these YouTubers. YouTube platform is just a money making scheme. A lot of these platforms, these people are on here just because they're trying to make a quick dollar off someone else. They're not here to benefit you. They're not here to share information so that you grow spiritually and internally. What their goal is to make sure that they're retrieving funds. So I'm going to play a little bit more of this, and then I'm going to talk a little bit more about some other things that have been going on, just so you guys can get some of this info. So give me about 5 seconds, and I'll be right with you. In the area. talking about
It can't
negativity.
find anything with
All
that.
right,
They're
guys.
missing like 8 tiers
Talking
within
about the
thinking
amino
negatively.
acids
And what
and the
happens then,
blocking that we spoke about.
they're not able to unlock certain amino acids because like when you're happy, right, there are certain amino acids that are unlocked,
The base
you
tiers that
know,
are in
and they kind of help
your system
to comprise your DNA
that
into
feeds the
like a protein,
neutrinos
you know.
to your
So when you're
brain.
happy, the amino acids are activated and it increases your DNA protein. And so what happens is that protein gives energy and things to the cells and to the tissues in your body and to the organs in your system, and that helps to create also the oxygen. You know how you were saying, like with the anxiety, people get anxiety, they start to hyperventilate sometimes, so on and so forth, because they're sometimes even losing the oxygen in their body. And that's because that stress on them is making the cells in their body, condense, and they don't realize that that's what's happening, and they don't understand that they calm down, and they relax or whatever, they'll get the density back into the cells, and then they'll feel better. But they can't do that because their mind is so triggered, and their cognitive thinking is off, and something's triggered that kind of freaks them out, and that's why that anxiety comes in. So if they're happy, they're gonna be able to build that DNA up and make that protein in the body, build the organs and things up and make the proper circulation for the oxygen and stuff in the body. Right. So we have a couple of people asking about, let's see, it says please speak on RNA, what they call junk DNA. What do they mean by that? I'm not sure. Well, they may kind of talking about the same thing we're talking about where right now, right? Okay, we're having um, an altered state. We're living in an altered state. We're being forced basically into an AI world. I believe the person that's listening that asked that question, if I don't touch on exactly what you're talking about, please come back with a little more specific on that. Basically, we're living in an AI world. So there's a lot of changes going on within our DNA. Everything that I just talked about as far as like our molecular structure, so on and so forth, everything that's come down from our ancestors and our DNA, the information that's brought through our DNA strands, so on and so forth. What's happening is we're being changed now with all these chemicals and things. Everything that's coming from the air, the water, the food, so on and so forth. The reason I talk so much about the health and being clean and needing to be clean is because we are being altered. We used to have two stranded DNA.
12
Back when I
strands,
was young,
actually.
we always heard
Now
about
it's
DNA
13.
stranded DNA. Right now, people are having like 9 to 12 stranded DNA. It's complete crazy. But this is actually going on right now, within our bodies. The human bodies are being
We're from
changed
12 to
with
13.
a total different
I was
molecular
confused on that.
structure
Excuse
to
me.
an AI world, because when we're absorbing these things, people think, oh, these chemicals aren't good for us, da da da. Okay, that's just the light part of it. What's going on as well is our bodies are being attacked by nanobites and
Morgellons. I
oh
couldn't
God,
think at the time, but it was
um,
nanobites and
yeah,
morgellons.
I'm sorry, guys.
Morgellons are the reddish
It'll come
strands
to
of
me in a minute. But
chemicals that
there's
land on the skin.
nanobites. Let me touch on that. The nanobites basically are a tech type of a chemical, is the way to speak of it, I guess. It's smaller than a grain of salt.
Or the tip of a
It's
needle.
just like so tiny you can't even see it. It's like a biochemical piece of particle.
Biochemical
So
weapon.
nanobites are in the chemtrails and things that are coming in, not only through the chemtrails, but through the water and the food, so on and so forth. Nanobites actually attach to your body through your skin. They can absorb through your skin. So they just like land on your body, like say if you're out in the rain or whatever, and the chemicals that have been in the air and then the
Absorb
rain
through the pores, the
it goes
portals of your skin.
come down on your skin with that rain, or even if it just floats in the air, if it's not raining, you can get on your skin because they're all over. They attach to your skin. They're absorbed into your body, and when they absorb into your body,
They
they
militant,
actually start to
militantly marching
transmutate
up and down your
the DNA.
bloodstream.
They kind of like march up and down your DNA structure in your strands, and as they're doing that, they're making molecular changes
Doubling
in
and
your body.
multiplying.
When they're doing that, if it's one nanobyte in your body, they double themselves. They just continuously march and double and march and double. So if it's one or two, they go from 2 to 4, from 4 to 8, 8 to 16, so on and so forth. So you can have about a million of them in your body right now.
The
The average
normal
person
person
has
does, yeah.
probably about that much in their body just from living a day-to-day
Living,
life
if you're
since
more than
they've
20
been
years
able
old,
to say. And the other one is I cannot remember. I'm
the
so
more
sorry,
gallons.
guys.
I got so stuck. I was so overwhelmed,
Mono,
overwhelmed with
mono,
the information at the time,
mono,
but it was a monogallons.
like I believe if anyone knows what I'm talking about, monogelic, they are
I was
actually
thinking about the
slightly different.
molecular lights at
They're
that time,
they
which
work the
actually
same
are
way.
part of
They're in
the
the
light
air, they're in the food,
sensitivity.
they're in the water, they're
Very confused during this video, but yeah.
the difference in them are they are little parasites. So they're tiny like the nanobites. And what they do is they um they do the same thing. They absorb into your skin. You swallowing them. They're going into your body. Once you absorb them, so on and so forth, they go into your bloodstream, and then they attach as well to your DNA, and they start to destroy and manipulate your DNA and the atoms and things in your body, your organs, so on and so forth. So that's why it's really good to detox and keep clean because you're taking in these things like every day and don't even know it. So I just wanted to say that on that part. Did you have something to say about that, sister? No, I concur. I
And
agree
that's
with you.
all nanotech and smart dust. If you hear them talking about smart dust, that's the nanoparticles as well.
Such shows without getting harmed. So such shows as this. Exactly. I want to address that just real quickly. First of all, everything in moderation. As I said, when you overdo anything, it can be harmful to you.
Exactly right.
Okay, you can eat too many
That's
fruits
what
or too
greed
many
is.
vegetables or drink too
Greed
much
isn't about
water, and it
food,
can be
it's about
harmful for
anything
you.
that you're
Okay,
consuming.
so everything in
Consuming is
moderation. Um,
food or greed isn't about just eating. Just understand that it's about everything that you're consuming. Consuming is anything that relates to your five senses. So if you're taking in certain smells and odors and you're listening to certain music or you're watching weird movies, all these demonic, satanic, abusive killer movies and things of this nature, this actually builds your reality. It actually builds or formates what you have in your thought process or in your brain as being what's actual factual at the time. So it's important to understand that.
if you want to pick and choose certain times to be on one of these type shows or anything educational or whatever, then that's great. But you have people that go to
And
bed at
agree, guys, with that. If when it comes to that, um you can't be greedy with information in the same sense. So let's say the falsehoods or the information that we're being taught that is not actual or factual, and they're actually lies versus being truth in reality. Taking in too much of this will actually formulate how can I say it? A realm of false ascension. So you will start to believe that this is what your life or your world is based off of the assumption of things you're consuming. So if you're watching, excuse me, guys, if you're watching, a lot of evil movies, so on and so forth, obviously there's going to be a lot of negativity within your system because you consumed a lot of evil thoughts, evil images, more than likely evil sounds because they always use the evil sounds to create drama in the movies. So these things you're consuming also are flooding your system with indoctrinated information that may not be privy to positivity or advancing you to an area that you may need to go. So I'll let Amir finish talking about this with as well. We'll fast forward in a minute. I'm gonna play probably about 15 more minutes of this at most.
on the cell
It's about
phone
five
or
hours.
on the computer, they're going to bed with it right there next to them. So they're constantly getting all these electromagnetic waves,
Mm-hmm.
and it's disturbing their sleep and things like that. You have people that wake up first thing in the morning and they're on the phone. Um, I was on Facebook one time, and I now mind you, I don't hardly get on Facebook at all. But this one particular time I was on there, and I saw one of my friends. She was on there talking about how this person next to her was running a red light, or how bad the traffic was, something like that. So she was actually on Facebook while driving. And I'm like, how crazy is that? You know what I'm saying? So they're so addicted to this social media and things like that that they're doing it while they're driving. They're ignoring their children while they're on social media. You know, it's really out of control.
True.
Okay, so that was the one thing.
Real quick, a point on that social media. When you think about social media, it's a medium. It's a medium between reality and natural, versus false thoughts, false everything. On the social media, people are on there, they pretend to be one thing or something else. They can lie about their, not only their physical appearance, but their spiritual enlightenment. They can lie about their beliefs. They can lie about their personalities. They can lie and put face on another person of themselves. There's so much that is done with the social media. It's a medium to a different ascension or a different reality. Taking people out of the natural aspect of knowing how to relate to one another. A lot of people don't even know how to be naturally relatable. I run into issues where I'm having almost arguments with people because of their rudeness, because of their harsh um, thinking and the way that they perceive things. They want to come across in a very negative way, and that energy can be transpired so easily. I've fallen for it before. It's not it's not nice to be swayed into a position of feeling just not comfortable with the person, or feeling negativity toward them, feeling any type of hatred or animosity when it's unnecessary. All we need to do is build and love on each other. So we have to be very careful of that. But I'm gonna play a little bit more of that. Stay away from being so social. Try having interactions with people that are human interaction, physical interaction, where you're able to see a light. Light resonates to light. There's energies that are assumed when there is certain light. Okay.
And then the second thing is going to another aspect of health, which is community. There are people, I'm
I'm gonna
very
pause
sure,
this because this was okay,
in
but just a
each of
moment. All right, guys, getting right to the
and
next
they're trying
section
to
here.
kill us off like a roach or something, can't get rid of them. They try, you know,
This
it's
is,
not that
let's
they're
see, we've got about, oh, we're about halfway through. It's still about 2 hours left. I'm definitely not going to play the entire 2 hours. I'm going to play a little bit more. We'll skip through a little bit more. So if you're coming in on this video, or if you watch it later, I'm just playing parts of this video on some of the information that was still pertinent, some of the stuff that we still talk about now, I've been talking about for years, and just want people to realize how important it is. There was also a social lady on here that discussed some of this stuff, and just going over it briefly. There's still about 2 hours left in the video, so we're definitely not going to do that. I'll take about 15 minutes to play a little bit more, skipping through and discuss a few of those points. And then if anyone wants to join me, I would appreciate it. We can have a grand morning risings with a wonderful conversation. Let's go.
only trying to get rid of us and do genocide that they've been doing for hundreds of years, trying to kill us off like a roach or something. Can't get rid of them. They try, they say, hey, you can't beat them. You can't beat them. Let's just join them. So they had two plans. One plan is that they
Oh,
mix the
something
men. That's why
something
as
else I
long as they're
wanted to
all the
say.
same thing together.
Lance Scurve, this gentleman always joins in the conversation. He's a talker. He can go, and he always has something to say. He always has a remark. He's always replying. Even during interviews, he makes sure that he expresses his points, go on and so on and so forth. During this entire four and a half, 4 hours, 5 hours and 45 minutes video, he may have said something 3 or 4 times. He barely even got into it. So it was real crazy.
But y'all can't stand that y'all hate us, but we all the same when we together in the same thing. That's an oxymoron. Are you crazy? So basically, they're telling us that we're the same, this, and that, because they want to mix and mingle because they want to get the DNA of us melanated people and mixed with their DNA because their race is going extinct. They said by 2050, they're pretty much going to be out of here. So they're trying to find ways to make sure that they stay here on the planet. So because of that, they're mixing all these different things in these experiments because that's what they love to do. Anything that's not of nature, that's not natural, that's what they're doing. The opposite that evil entity is about. So they're deciding to say, okay, we're going to make a different world because the world's not what we want. It's not beneficial for us. It's not actually made for us. We're not part of it. It works against us, not for us. Where the sun gives us that energy and life, as I said earlier, and it sustains us, it actually
Sustains
kills them.
us.
It gives them melatonin. It gives them, diseases. It gives them skin cancer. All this stuff that kills them. So they're the opposite of us. So on the sense of that, they have to find a way to make themselves be able to exist here. So what's going on is they're mixing so that they're getting a lot of the melanated blood within their genes into their people. You guys see?
Therefore, extending the life into their generations. If there's the mixing of a lot of mulatto children, those mulatto children, this is why they say as soon as they're a mulatto child, they don't give the mother or the dad the option to say the race is white or black because they're actually both. They're white and they're black according to their standards. We're just talking about the standards of the race that they call, but either way. Um, they don't give them that option or that choice to say if they are black or white or Indian or African or whatever they want them to be. At that point in time, they automatically label the child as black because that child therefore has the genes or the DNA of a black person. Once they have the melanated blood within them, they at that time they have a different plasma within their body or within their system. So therefore creating light bodies into the generations of their family.
Had a prince over in England. That prince married the so-called, they say in black. She's half black, the mixed girl, and now she's the prince's wife, and she's pregnant already, I believe, or whatever.
We
They
can
just
skip
got
past
married
this
not
part.
too
This
long
wasn't
ago,
important,
so they
guys.
were
Let me
hurrying up
get
trying to
to
get
another something that was very informative.
some.
I don't want to waste too much time.
My in the neighborhood that I live in, we used to have the blue recycling bins, the little ones that you could pick up and carry, like little small bins. And so they ended up, the city ended up doing away with all those recycling bins and got these big.
Okay, we were talking about, I'm going to fast forward this. This part we were talking about generating vegetation in your area. I was telling everyone about eating organic, staying away from foods that are not good for you. The inorganic foods do nothing for you. There's like nothing beneficial to it in it at all. Even the the fruits and the vegetables. If you're eating fruits and vegetables that are not organic, they have no life in them. If they did not come from an organic seed that actually has the electro energy within it that attaches to our photosynthesis, which is the light. There's light in the seeds of natural fruits and vegetables. That light energy, which is the photosynthesis, that's why the seeds are always black, black, black. It's like condensed energy basically. So this is why we get energy and health benefits and nutrients from certain fruits and vegetables. So when they create the GMO products, if you don't have a seed, you really aren't getting any life from that. It's artificial. It's inseminating things into your system to make it believe this is natural. So it forces the body to change from a different state, therefore dehumanizing you from the natural state when it comes to the elements you're consuming into your system, and that's producing the actual physical body, therefore creating RNA, so on and so forth. So it's very important to um, stay with the organics. At this point in time, the lady's talking about if you don't have an area that you're able to like build a garden. She said she took some of the old recycling bins before they made the garbage pails, put holes in the bottom, and used those to make some vegetables and things of that nature. You can actually go right on Amazon. They have 2 gallon, they're black little tote bags, and you can actually grow fruits and vegetables within your home. I'll actually show those one day and show how easy it is. I grow pineapple. I mean, there's just so many things you can grow. But either way, this was the discussion here. I'm not sure what we were talking about after that, but let's see. I'm gonna try and get
But
towards
we're
the
not
end.
taught in these schools. We're set up.
Oh gosh, this is when we were talking about the homeschooling. You guys know how I feel about that. You got to make sure you're forming your child into the person they're supposed to be, growing their life, feeding their life the energy and positivity in the areas that they need to grow, which is showing them their talents, the things that they love, the things that they enjoy. These are the things that children need to be encouraged with. The educational system does nothing to encourage a child's mental or spiritual well-being. So, I believe these things are very pertinent and important in their life's growth. So, if you're homeschooling, you had an opportunity to teach your child what you want them to know. You had an opportunity for your child to grow in the areas that you see because you're the person that knows that child. You know your child more than anybody. You're the person that sees, oh, this baby's always drawing. They're doing this, they're doing that. So yeah, let's just keep that in mind. All right, guys, let's see.
So we can get this little community set up, you know.
Okay, she's talking about the communities, things. Let's see.
That's right.
I don't know what he's talking about, this weird guy, but let's fast forward.
Upload pictures. All platforms have.
Okay, he's talking about something else when it comes to
Have
advertising.
to be together. Now, this is what the Spirit is saying. Okay. In conclusion, this
Oh,
is what
we
the
got a
Spirit says.
caller
You are
on it.
mentally enslaved because you don't know who you are.
Tell them some
And I mean, you're
information.
somebody. You all are somebody. Somebody that you have no idea how special you are. Your memories have been wiped clean.
Mm-hmm.
You need
We
to
talk about
remember.
this all the time.
You can gain strength through your spiritual gifts. Your leaders
Let's
can
pause this
be
right
the
here. This is
spirit.
an important point. One thing about that, as far as our memories being erased, I don't know if she understands how that's being done, but she talks a lot. Very intelligent lady. I don't even recall what her name was, but what we have to remember when it comes to that is when it comes to the breastfeeding, when it comes to giving birth, giving birth to your child in an upright position so that they're coming down into the natural gravity light. That's one thing. When that child is born, keeping their placenta intact so that they're retrieving all of the photonic light energy and information from the mitochondrial DNA stem cells that are in the placenta that continuously pump for about 2 days after birth. They cut that off, they take that, they collect it, they sell it, they use it, they use this information for a lot of stuff, because it's actually information. It's literally like paper written down instructions, stuff of that nature. So from the beginning, our children are blocked from the light because they are cut off from the source, which is the informational stem cells that they keep the child from retrieving at the birth cycle. The next clouded information that the child receives is breast milk. So at that time, the mom does not breastfeed. If the mom was breastfeeding, they would still be beneficial in retrieving that information through the blessed breast milk. The breast milk actually contains information, the same cells and the informational portals that will be exuded or consumed by the child. So it's important to breastfeed. This is why they created so many formulas and convenience, for you not to be able to breastfeed your child. Fast forward this a bit. Let's see what part we're on
There's
now.
spirits that you don't have
Oh, this was the lady. Let's go
that
ahead.
that do not have bodies and exist outside of the hologram. They exist outside of the hologram.
Correct.
They can't kill the spirit. Once you recognize that this is a hologram and you look for answers outside of the hologram,
So when she say this is a hologram, this is when I talk about it being a simulation. We are living in a simulation, a simulated world. A lot of times people say the matrix. The matrix is actually the woman's womb. The the ionic womb of the black woman is the matrix, but we won't go there. That's another conversation for another day. But this is what she's talking about, that simulated reality that we're living in. The false ascension be due to the things that we consume, all the information we take in through our five senses, presenting a false ascension, a false simulated world, a false reality, being stuck in this particular realm so that we're under their guidelines and our energies are consistently being consumed, recycled, and reused. So yeah, this is kind of what's going on. I've forgotten about this lady with this part, so I remember her coming on and adding to this very good with this information as well.
You can ascend past the hologram.
Exactly.
It says, so I asked, so how do we look for answers outside of here? Is it
So real quick, the ascension process, when we talk about ascending past the hologram, is what she said. So when we are ascending past this reality, ascending to a different simulation, ascending to a different dimension, these things are done by the crystallization in the mind. When the spirit mind has created enough light within, when a person has created so much love, energy flow that has been positive and that's just burning within, that fire within. Once that fire heats up the blood enough, and the plasma within the blood becomes liquidized, there's a gas formation. This is the Christos or the Christos spirit that we retrieve. And when we retrieve the Christos or Christos spirit in our crown chakra, this is where you're at the level or the area of ascension. But you must know what to do at this point in time. So you have to be spiritually aware and inclined to all of this.
is it through meditating or a specific method? They say that's what I wanted to say earlier. I'm so glad you brought that back up. I wanted to touch on that earlier, and we kind of got off track. It's more so not so much the coming together. When I was saying about coming together, we do need to come together. They have been doing the separation because of the fear of us coming together, because they know that when we come together, the power that we have in numbers will outdo so much. we can just like do so much, just a few of us, that come together in the same sense.
Meditating together, bringing our light energies to
just
create a certain
it.
force.
So keeping clean. This is what people don't understand. What I was saying earlier about the
If you're
molecules
not
and things in
clean,
our body,
you'll
people
not be
don't
able
know
to
how
ascend
important
because
it
your
is,
body's
because
weight
what happens
will
is
be
when those molecules in your
metallicized
body
and
are dense,
stunned
right?
from
It
the
affects
metals
your
and the
spirit. It just
absorption of
really
these
does. It
things.
dims it.
Very
It
important
slows it down.
what you're
You're
eating,
not
how you're
feeling
eating.
nothing. It kind of, it's like something. It's not charged. Your spirit's not
It's
charged,
like
so on and
killing
so
the
forth.
battery.
So it's hard for you kind of to collect the conscious thinking and how that grid you were talking about, right?
The
If you're not
electromagnetic grid
connected
that the
to the
earth gives us.
grid, it's usually because something in your body, the chemical and molecular structure is off, and that's why a person is not getting that spiritual connection.
So, just to tap onto that real quick, when it comes to that, I've discussed and talked about how important it is in being grounded in the earth. We're supposed to be grounded by being leveled in our body. It's just like when a person's doing electricity or creating the electricity system in a home that they're building. There has to be a grounding wire due to the positive and negative aspect, or the charge could be very powerful. A person can die if they're shocked, so on and so forth. So when it comes to our physical body, if we're grounded, standing or planting our foot into the ground, which means with no concrete, we would need to be on dirt, grass, sand. Okay, so if you're standing solid on a foundation that is natural and nothing that is cutting it off, and there's the natural flow of the earth electromagnetic energy and certain ions and nutrients that we can retrieve through the protein of the dirt and the minerals that absorb through our soul through the other sole in our feet. So when it comes to that, you have to just make sure that you are grounded and you're standing in a spot that you can absorb the sun, the ionosphere from the sun, and the energy and everything that it transpires to you at that particular time that you're retrieving the electromagnetic energy from the Earth's core. And then you're retrieving the electromagnetic energy from the sun's plasma, which is the orgone energy. These two energies together, they give you a certain enlightenment in the mind. If you can go and meditate for about 5 minutes just doing that, stand, just think on the light, feeling that energy within your body, hands outstretched, you would definitely be able to benefit from that. I want you to try that. Take 5 minutes out of your day. If you're in an area that you can go outside barefoot, please do that. This is very important because when you're grounded, it balances your body. This is where people talk about the chakra. If you're familiar with the chakra and your aura, if your chakra is aligned properly, it creates a certain aspect that helps to create the crystals and the crystals and the gas aspect in your mind, forming more positive energy to make the force field, which is your Taurus field, around your body even stronger. So this is very important.
Melanin basically is like your soul. I'm sorry, it's like the soul. It's a biochemical.
And I didn't explain this then as much as I should have because a lot of times I'm talking so fast and thinking people know what I'm talking about. But melanin is a biochemical substance in the body that's basically light energy, photonic light energy. There's about 15 volts of energy per melanated cell due to the melanocytes that actually produce and help to flow it to the correct area. So it fluctuates, it frequently just moves, and there's different wavelengths, and this creates that flow of energy, light. It's very powerful. Condensed to a certain state, it actually is explosive. Um, they use it for war weapons. They use it for the those so-called spaceships that they so-called send into outer space. All of this stuff. So there's a lot when it comes to that. So we've talked about melanin a lot. People know how I feel about that. Let me just get to that last.
And now there are people, are some of the most religious people in the world.
Oh,
Black,
the
I'm talking about black.
religion. Oh gosh,
Okay?
y'all. We'll end it on
We
this. Let's see
believe
what
in
we
God is
talked about.
not else. And we believe in the power of the Bible and praying to Jesus and everything. But look at the condition of us. I'm gonna just say this in the United States. We're just a little better than we were in slavery. So that can't be the way. If they're saying, oh,
You said we're a little better. I think we worse actually. Now we're mentally enslaved on top of it.
So that can't be the way. But like I said, since I have been living this spiritual path, I've seen so many blessings and successes and prayers being answered. I'm talking about as soon as I pray stuff, it seems like a lot of it is happening like immediately. And then I'm getting in touch with people. I ended up meeting Brother Lance.
What people don't understand is when they're praying, they're focusing, and they're putting their heart and soul into this prayer. Manifestation is what's going on. They're manifesting these things into the atmosphere, and the source, of course, will create the atmosphere that you're planning on. If you're focused on something and you have your eyes, your mind, your thoughts, and your heart on something, that thing has no choice but to manifest due to the atomic structure of your brain waves and the patterns, so that information is flowing and creating the reality that you choose it to be by forming the molecules in a way of the thought pattern that forms those atoms, and the atomic structure is what actually creates our reality due to the waveform information that's processed through our brain and our optical illusion is perceived, therefore putting you into the simulation or simulated reality of the place you want to be.
I didn't even intend to call.
I'm actually going to fast forward this because this is about the end. Actually, we can stop this. So yeah,
Brother Lance.
I talked about this because it was so phenomenal to me how this gentleman had taken my information, blocked me, had 3 different videos based off parts of my information. And a gentleman told me the other day, hey, a lot of times people have information they just may not explain it the way that you do, and then you may give them a clearer understanding. They can explain a little different, so on and so forth. But this was like they literally took it out my mouth. Literally, almost every word in the video. One of the guys did was like he must have just listened to it over and over in his head, and he couldn't have any choice but to repeat it the way he heard it. But it was weird, and I think strange. Also strange that he took all of my contact information out so no one could reach me. I tried to contact him to see what was going on with the video, why information wasn't there, so on and so forth. He blocked my phone. I'm just like, okay, this is definitely an agent. At the time, mind you, I was very paranoid because that was during the time that I found I was on some kind of a watch list. Just due to my content information I've been sharing over that last 8 to 10 years, which probably, you know, same thing here, but either way, I'm still going to share truth and light because that's what it's about. And I guess that's it. I didn't have anybody come on to join me. This is normal. I had a couple of guests the other day, enjoyed it. It was so exciting to have some of the panel come on with me that I usually grow with and discuss things with on a regular basis. And they actually came to share with me on my channel. So hopefully we'll have a little more of that, make it a little more exciting. I know I may be uh, pretty boring, because of some of the information that I talk about. It's not as entertaining when there's not much to go back and forth about, or, other people to bring up other ideas off of what you're saying. That flow usually just makes it a little more interesting because you can spark knowledge off each other. Other subjects are talked about. Other people give their points of view. So I actually love the panel. So hopefully we'll get a little more into that. This right here is almost like I'm just doing the radio show. It's because it's just me, or maybe my son and daughter that want to join in because of the subject, whatever. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. But thanks guys so much for listening in. Whoever came in today, I didn't get any good morning, so I don't know who's watching. I saw two people hopped in, but good morning to you anyway. Thanks for stopping by. And if you catch this video later, guys, yeah, I just wanted to put this information out there because these YouTubers something else. And I'm gonna call them out again. Lance Scurve, agent. Brother Sanchez, very, very, very possible agent. Um, YP, which is Young Pharaoh. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him, but Young Pharaoh definitely agent. Shit, I should have put him at the top of the list. I mean, this young guy literally was so excited about being a co-host on my Melanated Monday show, and once he found out that it was a internet radio show versus a online radio, not on that it was online radio versus being on air, like a radio station that you would listen to in your car or what have you. He just a broadcast. He just he just was like, "Oh, this too little for me. I want something big where I'm gonna get all this cash and this, and that." But so ignorant and crazy. At the time, the network was black owned. There was a black engineer. The person that owned the system that actually produced the broadcast on air was a young black guy, a young black engineer. My boss, it was my boss, another gentleman that I worked with on another project with something else, business. And he was a part of it, and there were two other people. So it was growing. It was like the first all black owned produced radio uh show. So it was crazy. He didn't want to be a part of that, being that he's so metaphysical and all about the black, so on and so forth. But yeah, that was kind of crazy. So yeah, definitely agent. Okay, what nobody saying. So Lance Scurv agent, YP Young Pharaoh agent, Brother Sanchez, possible agent. Definitely with him. He does so much weird stuff. I've watched the video just popped on, and it's like within 5 minutes of me on there, he had a green screen with the big capital letters donate flashing on the screen. Like I'm looking like what the heck kind of hypnotist wizard crap. But yeah, he may be on a line of some type of agent and some type of sorcerer. So I don't know. He's not. too trustworthy. Y'all better watch him. But other than that, guys, that's about all I have to say. And thanks so much.